be an interesting one. Mr. Anthony, please could you take over? Thank you and welcome once again.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I'm Anthony. So I'm a software engineer with over 10 years experience across different technologies, especially mobile. Yeah, so today I'll be talking about, opportunities in mobile application development. So for anybody that have questions, you can be dropping your question in the chat as we move along. So let me start by trying to introduce the topic a bit mobile application development. This is an area that is often confusing to a lot of people. It's usually confusing to a lot of people because for the fact that mobile application development is something that kind of like stands on its own compared to the other applications. So if we're talking about a software developer, for software developers, there are lots of areas involved, right? There are lots of areas involved. So we can say, okay, we're all programmers, but what area do you specialize in? That is something that, comes to play a lot. So for mobile development itself is is still a broad category because as a mobile developer, there are still different categories of mobile developers. Some work on, just Android, an Android application. Some work on iOS application. So if you get into the field, you see that there are kind of like differences between the two. So that's why sometimes you could meet two Android developers, and yet both of them use different technologies to run their craft, and both of them cannot even understand exactly how the other one is doing because they're using entirely different tools. So we'll get to that. But first, let me I have a slide here which I want to share that will help to clarify things a bit. As we move along, there are some explanations I have which you will not always find in the slide, but when we get to those ones, I will explain. So let me share. Okay. So I'll just share my screen. Okay. Right. So please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So I'll start from I'll start from here. This tries to talking about the fact that the summary of this slide is just that you have a lot of people using mobile applications. Like most people, even whether you're looking at Nigeria or you're even looking at worldwide, whichever one, more people use mobile application than desktop for accessing things. So that's why for website development, in recent years now we have something that we call responsive, web design, which is the fact that if you in the past when you build a website, your website is mostly for desktop applications, right? They are mostly for mobile applications. So but now, due to the days of responsive web design, we try to make website to be compatible with with mobile applications so that when you view your website on a mobile browser, it kind of, give you a good experience, right? But still, a mobile website and a mobile application, they can still not compare because of what we call the user experience. The user experience of a mobile application is way more than what a website can give you. So as we move into that, you will get a better grasp of what I'm trying to explain. But just to clear things up, when we talk about mobile application development, right? There are just two main categories, which is Android and iOS. And when we talk about Android, well, Android now, it's not just Android app. It covers Android TV, Android devices, Android Watch, and so all those devices, they are all covered when we are talking about the mobile application. So likewise too, when we are talking about iOS application, iOS mobile iOS app. So it covers iPads, it covers Apple Watch, instance. So it's not just iPhone. So all of them are covered. So now let's move on to the next. Okay, so now we are just trying to talk here just roughly about where where opportunities lie when if a mobile application developer. So you see this talks about application development for platforms. Now, I mentioned just before, a few moments ago, that application to iOS and Android. So this talks about the A part of this talks about iOS development. So when you say, okay, I want to create an iOS development, that means you are creating for Apple devices. Now, confused about this post talking about Swift and Objective-C. If you are creating native, this is talking mostly about native application development. So when you are creating, let me show you something. When you are creating, when iOS application first started, right, then you can only create iOS application with this tool that we call Xcode. Oh, okay, sorry, I thought I had it installed. I just recently removed it from my system because of space. So then it was either you're using Xcode or Android Studio. Now, Android Studio can run on any system, but Xcode can only run on what do you call it now? On Apple devices like this. I'm using an Apple device. So this is where this is where we create. This is the only way that we create applications in the past. You come to Android Studio, you come here, you pick what you are using, whether you are using Kotlin or whether you are using Java. But these days Kotlin seems to be kind of preferred. So that's what they are talking about. You can see here now, it's asking me what language do I prefer. Do I want to use Java or do I want to use Kotlin? So this type of applications that we create this way, we call them native applications. Then when we as against hybrid, which is what we get when we use tools like all these Flutter and all these. Now, if you now come to the second part, so meaning like even right now as I'm speaking, I recently assisted a company to hire Android developers. They were interested in just this B part alone. Android application developers using Java or Kotlin. That's all. They're not interested in Flutter or any other one. That's just specifically what they're looking for. So anyone that have that kind of skill with the required experience, could fit into that. Now, this one is not really so much popular again like before because this native development is quite difficult. I learned all this. I'm purely a native developer. My primary skill is native. So imagine you have to learn Swift. You learn now we don't really use Objective-C so much again. Now you learn Swift. By the time you learn Swift and all this again, the knowledge will not really help you in Android. You have to come to Android and now learn Android pattern all over again. So that's like double learning just to be able to build an Android and an iOS application. This is the reason why for many teams, they usually have separate Android and separate iOS developer on the same project. So then we now started having cross-platform development that came after. Now, cross-platform developers leverage on the fact that you can use one code base to create your Android and your iOS app. So these ones are more common. This second one is more common. So Flutter is really making a lot of waves out there. While React Native, because React Native is backed by Facebook, so so it has a lot of popularity. So React Native, then this Xamarin is what do you call it now? That's Microsoft. So for those that use C Sharp and all these .NET, they can more easily learn how to use Xamarin to create cross-platform apps. So as you can see, all cross-platform apps, they work on both iOS and Android. You can compile them for and target all the devices. So that's the advantage of that. And in terms of learning, the learning curve of cross-platform development is faster than the pure native part. So that's also, another aspect. Then the third one is talking about game development. So there's a tool called Unity and Unreal Engine. These are the tools that they used to create all these games like Mortal Kombat and a lot of these fighting games. So game development too, still there's an aspect of it that fall under mobile. Many of these mobile games that we see, they have special tools that they used to build them. So that's the like the third, areas where you have opportunities. Then the fourth one talking about augmented reality. We've seen some of these games where you kind of like wear glasses and you play, like it makes you look like maybe you're in a room or you're in a street or you're fighting wrestling. It looks like you're actually in a wrestling ring and you see your whoever it is that you're facing. So, those kind of augmented reality games. So those are also some areas, although we don't have this as areas that we really use in Nigeria like that, but it still exists though. Now, um, wearable devices. You remember I mentioned earlier that for devices that are like Apple Watch, Android Watch, and those things, they still fall under mobile application development. This IoT is Internet of Things. So all this Alexa and you hear of some of these tools that you can talk to a device to put on your TV, all those kind of things. So those areas too are also partly part of mobile. So yeah, so that's talking about wearable devices. Then the number six is talking about e-commerce. Of course, you all use banking apps, OPay, GTB, and all these areas too. So yeah. So practically they use mobile application. They use mobile applications for them. Now, this seven part talks about enterprise mobility solutions. Yeah, generally, if you look at almost all kind of areas now, almost all walks of life now, when they create an application, they still want to create a mobile, version of it. So all these enterprise, you see, even where I work, Seamless HR, we have an app they can use. So because most people are mobile apps, so whatever experience you have, whether you create a desktop app, you still want to create that mobile. It's quite important in this age and time. Then you can see number 8 is talking about healthcare mobile apps. So, there's a lot of things going on. Like you could see some applications that you have actually built some applications like this, in fact, like telemedicine application where you could be consulting a doctor, or you could be consulting a doctor and you're not, you're doing real-time consultation and all those kind of things. So, so you see telemedicine, you see health monitoring, you see some apps that can connect to BP machine that can, check your blood pressure. You even see some applications that we have a kind of scanner that can check your pulse rate, can take some reading from your body. So yeah, so you see them. So those are some of the healthcare apps. You see some fitness apps. So some of them that people connect to devices when you jog, that it tries to like calculate how many steps you've taken, how long you have been, how long you have performed a different particular exercise, those kind of things. So you see those ones in the fitness tracking, application. And the number 9 talked about education and e-learning. So well, you see, mobile is everywhere. So you see learning management systems now that are based on mobile. So you find guys now, so they all have a component for mobile. So that's also another area for mobile application. Then number 10 talks about artificial intelligence and machine learning. Well, there's a lot going on now. There's voice recognition, and that's why you see some of these artificial intelligence tools these days. You can talk to them and they will process what you are saying. That you don't even need to type, and so they are voice controlled. So you see those ones a lot. Now, then the number 11 talks about blockchain and cryptocurrency. Well, for those that have used all these wallets and blockchain-based solution, all these things. So you see that all of them now they have mobile application components. Then this 5G technology, your devices have the capabilities of your device can be used by the application you are building. For example, a device that has ability to track geolocation, longitude, latitude, and those kind of things. You can use it to build a mapping application. This is why you see some of this technology like Google that you can connect the map to your device and you can use it to drive and to tell you, okay, 100 meters turn right, this one turn left. So those are leveraging on technologies that is available. So now, this 13 talk about security, just talking about tools I can use to protect against cyber threat and data breaches. These are just mostly monitoring tools. Then you see these 14 parts that talk about progressive web apps. Right, these progressive web apps, most people know it, but they don't know what it is. When you go to some websites, and so when you go to some website like on Linda KG blog, even on my own website, africoders.com, and some of this, when you open it on your device, when you open some applications, some websites on your device, it will prompt you to install. You see this installation prompt that will come up that will say you to, kind of like install. So that installing a progressive web app on your device. So progressive web app is not, it's just like they say mobile, it's just like mobile, but it's not a mobile app. But just thought to mention it. Because there are some times when you don't want to build a mobile app, but just want, so at the end of the what the progressive web app does, like create a shortcut on your device. And when you click it, you now open the website, but you open it as if it's an app. So that's what this progressive app thing is about. So now I just want to give one important point about all these areas that you are seeing here. They are all mobile, right? But again, in mobile, so there is sub-specialization. By sub-specialization mean the kind of area that you work on. All of them have their trades and their trade secrets and the things that you need to be able to thrive in it. For example, now I specialize in number one. Number two, not so much. Three, no. Four, no. Five, no. Six, yes. Healthcare. Those are areas that I've worked on exclusively. Like I work on from time to time. So all of them have things that you have to learn for you to be, really expert at it. So those are just generally talking about the opportunities in mobile development. Then this part just try to talk about the skills and the tools to use in mobile development. So the tools are more, but don't be bothered about it. The tool that you are using, it depends on what you are trying to do. For example, if you are building iOS apps now, for iOS apps, you're required to know either Swift or Objective-C, but Objective-C is not even really in use so much these days. So Swift alone is enough for you to build your iOS application. If you are building native Android application, you need either Kotlin or Java. You don't need to know the two. But more modern now is Kotlin. Kotlin is actually easier to learn than Java, just like Swift is easier to learn than Objective-C. Now, Flutter. For Flutter, you need to learn that that language. You need to learn that language, and you learn that language, and you also learn the Flutter framework. Flutter framework is based on that language. That is for this one. Now, for JavaScript is React Native. For you to be able to learn React Native framework, you have to first learn JavaScript. So you see, so JavaScript base. Then C Sharp, I mentioned it before. C Sharp is Xamarin. That's yeah. So you learn Xamarin Framework. Xamarin Framework is based on C Sharp. This Ionic too. Ionic is also based on JavaScript. So if you're a JavaScript expert, you can exactly go for React Native Ionic. But Ionic is not so common again like before. So the ones that are topping the game right now is React Native and Flutter. Even the native apps are not so common like before again. So that's what you get from that. So development tools. Well, your development tools is mostly there are a lot of development tools you can use, right? But Xcode, like I mentioned, is what you need when you are using iOS. So even if you use all this your whatever tool to do your final, compilation, then Android Studio, you need Android Studio for your Android app. Visual Studio Code, well, just an editor that can use to do a lot of things, a multi-purpose editor. So it's plus or minus. You don't really need it, but you can, choose to use it. Then here now we spoke about design tools. So design tools like Sketch, Figma. When you are developing mobile apps, you also need to do the UI UX of the mobile app. You need your UI UX design. So in that your UI UX design, you can use Figma, you can use Sketch, whichever one, or somebody can even do it. Doesn't need to guide what you are doing. So that's it. Just like if you are doing web development, so you still need, all these tools to guide what you are saying. Then, of course, version control, Git. Version control is essential for all programming these days. So it's not special for mobile application development. Then CI/CD, well, all these ones too are still talking about ways of automatically compiling and deploying your applications. This applies more to all this React Native, and sometimes when you have some servers that can help you to compile your codes, but they are not essential. It's just something that if you know it, you know. If you don't know it, well, no big deal. But it's just at a much higher level that you need to know how to do that. Then this number 6 is talking about APIs and backend services. Now, as a mobile application developer, yours is to design the mobile application. Then sometimes your mobile application need to connect with other tools. For example, your banking application, it needs to talk to the bank. You understand? You log into your mobile app, the login data, that information is fetching from login, it's happening from somewhere. There are services that will have been created, but you, as a mobile app developer, you must know how to connect to those services. So those services can be in form of REST API, that's the most common. GraphQL is a kind of a more modern improvement over this REST architecture. Firebase is an external service which handle notification and a lot of things. Then AWS, your Amazon Web Server, they have a lot of services which you can use in your development. So yeah, so I think those are just the main things that is there. So I'm just trying to use this slide to try to group all I've said, that at the end of the day, if we were to divide mobile application into 4 different parts, these are the parts you will get. The native Android Java app or Kotlin, that's one. Then when you are using Xcode, you can either use Swift or Objective-C, that's 2. Then other more common one is React Native. And the fourth one is Flutter or Dart. These are the 4 common types of mobile applications you are likely to encounter. So thank you very much. I think that will be all of that. So I think I'll be open to questions. Questions. Is everything clear? Concerns? Okay, people. Any questions. I'm looking at the chat. So is there anything anybody want me to go over again? Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for that. So for someone that wants to become a mobile developer, yeah, so the angle the person is coming from will determine the best part. For example, for someone that doesn't have any knowledge at all, it's better to go for Flutter. Flutter is faster for such a person. For someone that is already using tools like JavaScript, it's better for the person to go for something like React Native. Yeah, so depends on which angle you are coming from. If you can, for example, now use C# to build maybe .NET applications, it's easier for you to learn Xamarin. Yeah, so it's easier that way. If you're a JavaScript expert, you can go for Ionic or React Native. If you're already good with Java, it's easier for you to just do the Java Kotlin for Android. So your prior experience determines the best path for you to take. Yeah. So generally for internship, right? It's important for you to at least be able to do something. to decide. You don't want to come for internship with a blank knowledge, even if you can create a simple app at least, because I see some people that want to do intern, but they can't even do anything. So if, for example, now you want to do internship on Android Studio, on Android Java, for example, at least be able to install an IDE, set up the IDE, run it, and see how it is working, and be able to write some simple app, no matter how simple the application is. So that's quite important. But you cannot just come with a blank knowledge and say you want to do. So you need to be able to at least do something, no matter how simple it is. So that's just the general thing with creating anything, whether it is even web or whichever one it is, but never come with a blank knowledge and say you want to learn an internship. It's not fair on whoever is teaching you.
So thank you, Tony. Does that mean that based on the response you just gave, I wanted to just ask the question: does that mean that people without for people that come for internship from the university, probably I study computer science, and most times we've had situations where we have interns, IT students, they don't have a clue of mobile development, they don't have a clue of even web development or software development, but they study computer science. So how do they fit into the system
Yes.
and to equip themselves to become uh, as in fulfilling that career of them? What would you say? Because based on your response to the steps, like if you don't have a clue, you shouldn't even go for internship. But most universities these days or colleges always post students in those field of endeavor or courses, computer science, computer engineering, ICT, technology, some universities, and it ask them to go for internship. So how do they handle those? Should companies reject those guys, or how do you accommodate them into your system?
Well, for the companies still take them, but one thing that I know, that the quality, what they will take out of it at the end of the day is not really so much like that. Because, for example, if you want to, let's say you start Java now, right? You do Java, and you want to even be able to learn, let's say you just start learning Java today, and you want to write a hello world in your Java. It may take you a week to be able to write that hello world. In fact, to be able to write that hello world off your head without looking at any book or anything, it may take you like 2 weeks just to write ordinary hello world. Now, if you are talking about Android Studio, for somebody that have never done development before on their own, that they want to learn, that want to teach them how to set up Android Studio on their own and be able to write a Hello World app, it may take them a while, because there's a lot of things they need to learn. You install the Android Studio, to tell you, oh, your Java version, your JDK is out of which you don't know what JDK, you don't know J. So there are so many elementary things you don't know. So now if you start learning, you're able to get your footing, the internship is finished. You understand? So that's the main concern that I have. So it's good if they can at least have a grasp of the thing, have a basic knowledge. Don't have to be an expert, but at least be able to play around with it a bit. Because if you can't do that, it means you will spend a lot of time. You'll be wasting the time of the experts when some basic things that you could have learned on your own. Do you understand? So imagine if, for example, I have an intern now, and I can only spend like 4 hours every week without intent. So with all my skills and experience, everything, I now be spending time explaining to you, oh, this is setting up Android Studio, this is it, this is that. When where the most important thing I should be teaching you, I should be sharing industry experience with you. I should be sharing, oh, this is how to write a fintech app. Before we get to that one, maybe like your internship I haven't finished. Because it means you will start from elementary. I've seen it happen a lot of time. And this is why some of them, they'll do that internship, and after the internship, they're not even branch in the area of programming and go and start working as a cashier, as a teller and all those kind of things after they have gone through all those things. So so it happens a lot. But for most people that I've seen that come out very productive after doing computer science, that are very functional in program, most of them, they've gone to other places to go and learn programming outside the school before they graduate. Those ones usually have better outcome, because let's be honest, learning programming is not exactly a very simple thing at all. It's not an easy call, because by the time you even start any of these things, before you even become very proficient at it to the point of a senior level, you must have been at it for like 5 years or more before you can even call yourself senior level. So it's not something you can learn in say 1 year and then I'm good. No, it doesn't work that way. So the earlier that the learn start, the better. So that's just the area I want to put emphasis on.
All right, thank you very much, sir. It has been a very informative session, and I believe everyone has learned one or two things in regards to transitioning into the mobile development space. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much. So that will be the end of the sessions for today. Mails would continue to be sent across every participant to keep up with the training for the 2 weeks training. And the training continues tomorrow, all the while till next week, Friday will be the last day of the training. So you can do well to keep joining. At the same time, 4 to 6 every day, aside the weekends, 4 to 6 Mondays to Fridays. So thank you everyone for joining today's session. I hope as participants we've been able to pick one or two things, both from the data class and from the mobile development session. If you have any follow-up questions, you could always reach out to us. You can reach out to us through our social media. You can reach out to us through our emails, or if you have the official lines, we're always here and ready to help. And the session is also going to be available on YouTube for this session, so you could always go back and refer to it. Yeah. Thank you. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.